Hello everybody, my name is Kim if this is the first time you see me, and I'm a new programmer, not to everything but to solidJS. So I've never used solid in doing anything, and today I saw a challenge somewhere and I wanted to do it. So there was a challenge that create a multi-select field that when somebody clicks comma, or what do we call, or tab, then it should, or enter, it should complete the, it should select the thing that the user has typed. So I think that is something very interesting, and today I want us to see what we can do. So I don't even know how to create a solid project, so I'll be referring that in the browser. Okay, so just as always, when I want to do a create a React application, I normally prefer to use Next.js because then I can be able to expand to wherever I want. So that is, again, I figured out there is something called Solid Start, which is like Next.js. It's server-side framework built on top of Solid. So I think we better go this route. So let me see how to get started. Okay, Solid Start. Okay, I don't want to read it though. So you can make a directory and give it whatever name you want. So that is it. So for me, I'll just say make the, and let me call it multi-select, cd multi-select, clear our CLS. Another thing is I'm used to, okay, so this is it. So we have the folder here which doesn't have anything actually. So as you can see, I'm using a pretty much very new VS code, so I'll bring that there and I'll try to make these larger when I can. For now, let me just npm init and solid start. I don't think even I have solid start, so I think I will install if I do have without JS. Actually, you know what, with Prisma, no, with solid styled. Oh, I think I'll be going with the Tailwind because I want us to use Tailwind, so I'll be going with Tailwind. Server-side rendering, yes. Use TypeScript, of course. And the project is being created, so it's downloading something from Git, and then it's telling me that, hey, if you want to do this, then you need to do npm install and npm run dev. So npm install, and then when it's done, I'll do npm run dev. Something conflict with this. I don't know what is happening exactly, but seems like it's conflicting with Vite that came with it, which is so weird because I did not, this is something their project came with. So I had to add force here. As you can see, it suggested I add it. Okay, very interesting. So installation has finished, but I have no idea what happened. And also, so okay, so now that we are in this multi-select project, so I've never used this, by the way. So right now I'm seeing that it's using router-based system. So 404 page is here. I don't understand the use of these square brackets. Maybe we will check the routing routes. So it has a router which is solid start, you import from, so it has its own navigation. Routes, what is A, by the way? I saw it in index and it has something called A. Adding a component is designed to handle links for client-side routing. It's okay. So this one is actually a route. And how do they use it? Because I don't see it. They imported and I don't see anywhere that is used. Okay, it's here actually. So what's the difference between server-side and client-side routing? That is another thing. This is so complex, guys, understanding what is happening here. But maybe this is more of me learning than actually me trying to help you solve something. So if you are here, we go through solid together, then I think it's really nice. If you just came here for the main purpose, then you can skip to the part where I'll be doing it. So it has active class, the class to show when the link is active. Okay, which is very interesting. Actually, this is something I wish it was in Next.js, because Next.js, whenever I'm working in the new layout, then I don't have access to the current active links. And if I'm using navigation that I want to include that on this, for instance, sidebar that I want to include in the layout, then I have to make sidebar client side in order to get active links, which is something I wish Next.js would do. Include something like active class, which is inactive class, the class show when the link is inactive. Very interesting. I hope I will understand how the classes are passed. Oh, but I believe it's just something maybe like, hey, you pass here. Is it active? Yeah, you just pass this prop active class, and you can say when it's active you pass something like that. So I'm using actually Copilot. So another thing, maybe you guys will realize that I'll be getting more help than normally would get in VS Code. So that is a thing. So as you see, guys, this video might be long. Use location. There are some things that I just want to know so that it will be easy. Location, use location. How do you import? You import use location from solid start. And interesting. So I believe this one still uses the old way. I don't think they have something like server side components like React does, because I hear that this is almost exactly same as React, except some things in how to assess variables and how it works. I've been reading a little bit about it, but I've never written its code. So that is it. I think it's very interesting. Let us check out npm run dev. What did it say I append? But I believe even just running run dev should work. Okay, so page routes, interesting. So it shows all the okay. So I think maybe this one means that if you do this one, it means that you can share it if error occurs in maybe a new page, maybe called about slash, is it page? No, it's index .tsx. Yeah, .tsx. I believe something like this should help. Yeah, server modules. I don't understand what server modules are. This is really dangerous, guys. I believe I should first try reading through this. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go and read them when I have time. But let me see, how is it even? But I believe on I think let me just say see in about, and then just say return. Let me see if it's like React return v or div, and then h1 h2 this is about page. Okay, let me see. Interesting. This is exactly like React. Okay, I love it already. So let me delete this about and go to about and see what happens. Very nice. This is about. So this is exactly like React, and it's using wait, so that is why page load might be faster. It's not as webpack, which is something very interesting and nice again about. So do you add the pages automatically in the header? Or let us just actually, why is the header here containing everything? Is there something what is happening? Root.tsx. Okay, so they have the navigation over here. So they have some very interesting things. Routes, file routes. So if you want to use file routes, which is what is being used by default, then I believe you have to define it over here that you want to use file routes. And maybe if you want to define, probably given this, it means that you can define the routes you want to use, which is something very interesting. I think I will be learning. I've not learned solid, and I think right now I'll be learning it. It seems very interesting and something that I would really want to. So is there Did this active work in server side? Because I see there is a way they are getting active. Okay. So you just specify that the active is slash, and what happens? Active. Okay, so this is a function that will return different classes depending on this. So if active, so it will check path. If the current path is the same as the location path, then active will be true, and if it's true, then it will append other classes. Here, if it's false, then I believe it's returning no classes. Yeah, so that is the okay, it's returning different classes depending on the if it's either active or not. So this one is underlining, and if it's not underlining. So border transparent and border bottom, border bottom 2, and border transparent if it's not. Interesting, I love it already. So so it's appending class actually on the list, not to the A tag itself. Okay, so can I move these ones maybe to something like nav? Let me see. I want us to see. So let us say here we have something like nav.tsx.tsx, and just say const nav. Okay, and then just return these and export nav active. So we should also move these ones actually over here, also this one, because this one actually, this is something I would I don't know if this one is maybe memory intensive or something like that, but I hope not, because running it, maybe it's CPU, not actually memory intensive, CPU intensive, because it's rerunning and rerunning. I don't know if that is something invalid that happens when error occurs. I believe it's location from solid start, and we also need to import A from the same place. Was A imported from solid start? I think I checked and it was from solid start. Where was it? Yeah, A was from solid start. So we need to remove these and these from here, and here, where were you? Yep, error bound. So error boundary, there are a lot of things that I actually needed to check, guys. So nav, which is from components, I really wish they were going with something like component. I don't know, they don't support that. I really wish that one was something that was supported, because sometimes checking and going back this is not so friendly. Hopefully this one works. Wow, yep, it works. It works. So this one, click, which is the landing page, and everything seems to be working perfectly. So yeah, you can just do everything like a normal Vue and React somehow. Now that we are somewhat familiar with basics of this, maybe we should dive to what we want, which is changing the home page to something to have multi-select. So I believe home page is inside index, and this tailwind is already configured, so I don't need to come and configure. You see, it's reading everything from the SRC, which is components and routes and everything there, which is just lovely. This is about page, and Linux works. Okay. I don't know how to create state. Is it even called state in the first place? I don't know. But I think for me, I'll just create an input and very fast go to class. And the one thing I want to do is I don't want a class here. I think the best thing would be to create a div with border. Yep. Class, and let us say the class has is this a flex? Let us make this a flex, and max screen to be something like XL or 2S, no, not to be XL actually. That one seemed like a very good sizing, so it will be, but for this screen I believe it still will be taking everything. And then let us also make this one flex, yeah, it's flex, and it will be containing the tags, which will be span, for instance, and then say Nairobi, Kenya. And let us see here. Okay, so this is where I come from, and we want to be adding comma and splitting. So this is what I normally do. I create first the style I want before I handle the logics. Okay, so and then here let us say border to be border blue, somewhere around 400, because I don't want it to be too strong, and then padding X of maybe 4 and padding Y of something like 2. So width to be full. Is this too large? Maybe half. Yep, so the width seems good, and let us make it rounded so that it looks like it's an input field. So this one should be actually acting like an input field. It's not actually an input field, but I want it to look like an input field. So in fact, I want it so that it will have a focus also. And then for these ones, again, I'll need to have class, and let us say that I want the class. So this is another interesting thing. I already saw that it uses class instead of class name like React, which is something I think I will love about it very fast. So let us say class to be gray of maybe 300. I don't want to be it's BG actually, BG gray. Okay, BG gray 300, and then let us just say that it's rounded, and then padding X of 1 and padding Y of 1. 1 seems like it will be a deal breaker, those 0.5. Yep, I love 0.5, and maybe X should be a little bit larger, so maybe somewhere around 2. Yep, I love that. So let us give it some spacing. Actually, that's being said, should it have spacing? Yep, spacing of X. I think I have space of X of maybe around 2. Yep, space of X2. So this one, you see, these ones are the tags. So the input field should always be the last thing here, and it should have nothing. So whenever I click this one, then it should highlight it. So another thing I realized is this one should probably be having a button for closing, which is something I think I better make this one. Okay, sorry. I think I better make this one a span, and make sure that it's also a flex, and then create a span, or should it be a button? Yeah, I think button will be good. And let us go to hero icons very fast, and go to hero icons and get close, which is X. This one, I don't know if it's too large, but I'll make it little bit smaller. So does it uses just normal? Yep, so this one is much easier. So it uses actually almost exactly style like CSS instead of like the way React normally wants you to do it. So I copied JSX, which is not, I saw it needed just normal. And let us see, where were we working? So this one is it. I think the best thing is actually to make this one absolute. So class absolute, and then make it to be right at maybe somewhere around 2. Absolute. Let us make this relative. Yep, now there we have it. So, and then let us make it top 1. Yeah, I want it to be actually top 0.5. Yep, I like it there. So let us just increase the size a little bit, maybe somewhere around 4. very good. And for this one, I think we can maybe increase the x to be somewhere around 4, or actually padding right and padding x of 2, padding left of 2. Yep, so it gives some good space, and also it should not be too large. So I think this one is what we should replicate for everything. And maybe now go to random UK. Yep, so this one seems good. I love it. This one ended there, so let us collapse these tags and add an input field. So what we know is we want something that this one can be focused. So, and also that one is actually, I don't know how we'll approach that, but I think I have an idea. Input type is text. Yep. And maybe class. I was also typing class name. So first thing, border is transparent. And equals this. What is happening? Yep, so we have it, but we need to remove focus. Why is it loading forever? Okay, that one. So we need to remove the focus. So I will say focus and then border transparent, focus ring 0 again. Yep, so I think that one looks good. So you see the input field is here, but we cannot see it. So focus outline and focus ring 0. These are some of the things that using Copilot helps me, because now I will be wondering why, and I will be still trying to set the border things. But right now I think that one looks good. So it looks like this one is the input field, and then this one is the tags. Is not the tags, is the input field, and then this one are the tags. Yeah. So what we need now to do is make sure that this input field, when somebody enters value, then it's saved in state. And also during the typing we need to capture the either. So we can say on click, on change, set query. Okay, interesting. So okay, let's say const signal. So we need to import signal from solidJS. Yeah, it's from solid this time around. So e.target.value. Value does not exist on. So how do you get value from this? e.target.value. Okay, so simple. So on change e select. So this one is using select, which we are not. And okay, so you use current target instead of yep, you use that. Interesting. Why does it do this? Is it a bug? I really hate the fact that it reloads the page every time I do that. Okay, so actually something very interesting is happening. So I have to hit enter for it to know that it changed. So it needs to be on change that happens, and then I don't know, should it be on key down? Maybe on key down. Some other, yep, so some other, and in key down it works, but now I need else. So and key down on key, so this one I need it to be either enter or comma, or key on is comma. Can you get that right? And then on key down, then I want to be setting the value there, so that, okay, so query, so let me see this. Interesting, yeah, so this is exactly what I want. And then this one, you see, when I pressed comma, it said enter. But what we want to do is, when this one happens, then we take this, we clear set query, and we append, what do we call? So let us call tags here, const, and call tags, which is this. So what we want to happen here is set tags. So I will let Copilot do that for me. Okay, it doesn't want to do, which is something very bad. So I will just take what we have, which is the current tags, and add the new tag there. So I'll just say set tags to be the current tags, and then e dot current target dot value. Actually, this is where this one should happen, not here. For here, we just need to keep setting the query value, and then over here we need to say that the value should be the query. That is it. So I was actually told that query is this one is always like for the signal is always like a function, because I believe when it changed, then when the state of this thing changed, it does not have to reload everything, it will just update the value here. Something very interesting about this thing. So that is it. So what is happening? No overload match this call. Never give the following error. Argument type string is not assignable to. Yes, never. Can I give it here to be maybe any, or list, or string of list? Can that work? Yep. So I think giving a data type here to be array of string helped that. So let us see what happens. So for these ones, we know that we need to take one and loop over the maps and get, and then over here, instead of showing these, we want to show the current tag. Makes sense? Okay, this is what I hate. I don't know what is happening, by the way, but whenever I refresh the page, I think it wants it to do it by itself, which is something very boring. Nairobi, comma, nothing happens. Okay. Okay, actually it's not current, but it should be query. This one should be query. Hopefully this one will help. But still nothing, and it's not even console logging that. Are you even working? That. Yep, so you see it works. But now we need to set query. Whenever we do this, we need to clear query finally. So set query to be empty. Something I like. So Nairobi, comma, and that one was when you used comma. So but something real bad happened over here. We added the last comma, which somebody would start typing, and when they hit comma, you see comma will be here. what we need to do is make sure that we don't capture comma. And how can we do that? On key down, how can we do that, by the way? I don't know, by the way, if again this is a good way, because in React I don't know if this one would have happened. In React I would have done something like set query set, what do you call, set tags, and then pass in the previous tags and then append. But I believe here this one maybe should work, because does it return previous? Let us just check. Wow, interesting. Okay, so I believe this one should be probably the correct way to do it, just the same way like React. This is very interesting for somebody coming from React. Then this one is something really interesting and easy, because I get used to it, because how to set state in React is exactly what I'm doing here. So I think I love Solid. Considering this is my first time, I just need to know how to remove this one, because I believe this one is now what is happening after key down. So I want to know, how can you use maybe refs? Are there something like refs? Because I think the best way I would approach this was using something like refs if I was in React, so that whenever this is clicked, when I would have, whenever this yeah, because I want, whenever you click outside again, then yeah, I think whatever I'm thinking is actually my div. So is there a ref? Okay, so ref, let my div, something very interesting. So you just come here. Solid is becoming something I like very, very fast. So what I want is all of these things to be my ref. Okay, not the way you are doing, copy ref. So I want this to be my ref. Okay, thank you solidjs.com, because you have you figured out everything. So I want, whenever this one is clicked, so I want to create an event handler. Ref do something with ref can also take the form of callback function. Logic when you don't need to utilize. Wow. Ref. Okay. Then this one, I think and then I think over here maybe we can add click outside. So if L, and then whenever somebody clicks outside, then we handle some of our the things we care about. So actually, let me just create something called focused and set focused. So whenever we are creating a handler, which I think the best thing I would do is put the handler outside. No, I think since it's EL out from here, then the best. Yep, it's not. Wow, I like it. By the way, I like everything that is happening here. So handler. So handler takes that, click mouse event. So the event is actually mouse event. So when mouse event handler mouse event, so if an event occurs, if the current element is contained in the node, then e.target. Actually, no, this one is an event. This is not the actually. Event.target. So set focused true, and yep. So yeah, this one this one is an event handler that will handle click outside. Very interesting. So let us handle on click now. On click of this one, Okay guys, so this one is some magic that whenever you're using, what do we call, Copilot, you will have to just know how to read the code. But you see, this one is, we added an event handler, and then we are checking if at least a click happens. The thing is, we are checking that the click happened, but it's outside the current element. So if it does not, if the current element is not contained in the thing that was clicked, then that of course was clicked outside, and so we set focus to false. And then on clicking this div, then we set focus to true. So what we want to do now is focus this one on clicking. Yep, so this is it. So I don't know ref. How can we achieve this, by the way? So let me define a new ref called my input. So I want to, whenever this one is clicked, I want to focus my input. Yeah, I think this one will work actually. So on clicking, then I want to focus ref. So yeah, so this one actually should contain more than one event. Makes sense. So I want to set focus to true, and my input, I should focus my input. So let me just define this, my input, in here. So I'll create that one, and then over here maybe I should just say that this one is HTML input element. Yep, to just so that to remove some of these errors that I was getting there. Hopefully this one will help somehow. Yeah, nice one. So you see guys, if I click within the box, then the input field is focused. If I click here, it's focused. If I click here, it's focused, which is something that works. Okay, so I think that one fixes the focus thing. So what I needed to do is define on click, and then on click I focus the input field, which is the HTML input element. I don't think actually I need this one because this one was for this div, but I realized that from what I did, then you can define all the ref and everything inside here, which is something very impressive actually. I don't know if you can transfer this one HTML div element. I don't know if you can manage to transfer all these outside actually. It will be very interesting if we can manage to transfer all these function outside. Actually I know it's possible, so let us just transfer here outside. Instead of this ref, no, if element. So this one is, you can take a function, and then the function, let us see, handle click outside, yeah, and then this one, that e is from there, and this one is not here. And then this one is HTML div element, HTML div element, EL. This one is actually EL. So, and let us define this one to be a const, and then this one, I don't know guys. Hopefully it works. Yep, I think it still works. So yep, just to keep the code clean, then I transferred the click outside function real outside. That one solves the problem. Actually, this is a very challenging thing. I thought it would be easy, but it's been really something interesting. So yep, so the ref actually takes in a function. So ref takes in a function or the element you want, which the function can then define, returns the element, and then it takes a function which should be taking in the element, and then you can do whatever you want with the element, which in our case we just bounding the click outside event handler, which listens for that. So we still have one problem we haven't figured out. That, so you see this one, we still get this. What we have handled for key down. What if we handle for key up And then in the key up, what we do is we check if the key that is pressed is either the enter or this one, and then we don't add them to the characters of because key down is just pressing, and then on releasing, that is when the value should be captured. So what if we manage to overwrite what is being recorded on key up? I don't know if they have on key up. Wow, they have it. So we need to check if it's either not backspace, if they are either these ones actually, and then if they are these ones, then we should check if that it would be easy, but no. So I want to check if they are either these ones, then we from the e.target.value we replace that e.target.value to be empty actually. Yep, I think this one can probably help us, hopefully. That, yes, so you see it works. So that when we do that, then again enter, you see it does not capture the comma and wherever. So you see if I press those ones, then they work. What we can do again is, hey, deny you pressing enter if query length is 0. So what we can do is, if query is not empty, then allow you, else you are not allowed. So that if I try pressing, it does not do anything, because hey, that is not what we want. And what if we press enter? That is not again what we want. Something, I think that is something very good that has happened there. Focus is working. Maybe we just can say that, yep, I think we can just handle this one actually, removing. So we can make the button on click, we want to remove the current element. So if filter, and then if it's the current one, then you don't add, else add the rest. So we say that, and then that again. So let us remove that again, it works. Let us do that, and this, let us remove the one that is in the middle, works. Let us do this, let us remove the first one, works. So it seems that that is the way to do. If you are, for instance, handling removing, what do you call, elements in row, then maybe you could just say here to be string and index to be a number, and then whenever you'll be removing the one in the number. So you see, if I, then you remove the one in the index, that, and again, then here you would be removing using the index instead of removing the one from checking that one, which I think this one is easier. Oh, actually, I don't know, but this one seems much better if you are handling something like arrays or handling something like objects, because objects, you cannot compare value of objects. So this one I think is the best way to do it, because sometimes you could be, these elements could be objects. So this one would be the best way to handle in such cases. So I think forecast, did we use forecast? Actually, we did not end up needing the forecast because we just forecast the input directly. Initially, I wanted to come here and say, hey, if focus is true, then focus this input field. But I think that one that one doesn't work, because I wanted to come and say on is there even something called focus? Okay, so I think that one wasn't even going to work. So, but it seems we solved it like champions. On click focus, set focus to true. I think I needed focus for input field, so that when it's focused, I want to increase the border for this one. I think that one should help us. So when it's focused, then I want, because we are trying to replicate exact focus of normal input elements, then we can go with this such that, hey, if it's focused, then border should, instead of being 1, should be 2. about that. Focused 2, if not focused 1, if focused 2, if not focused. Yep, I think I like that. So we are replicating exact normal input element. Somebody will think this is normal input, but actually it's a div and also input. So guys, if you like what are input, do you mean that? Aha, I see. So the last input element actually, the last thing in the input element is being removed. Why is that happening? Yep, I should not be setting the value on key down. I should be setting the value instead on key up. When you release this, I should be setting the value after you release. So I believe I put the whole thing in the wrong place. So maybe this one I should transfer it over here and see what happens. Yep, I think somehow I'm close to solving that first thing. If it's a form, actually you want to prevent default if it's enter. So if e.key is enter, if key is enter, then you want to prevent default, e.prevent default. If it's a form, of course, that works. Hello, perfect. So you see, I was pressing the logic somewhere else, so it should be on key up, not on key down. So this is something you need to know. So the whole logic was supposed to be on key up and not on key down. So now that this one works perfectly, so that is what we have. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.